answers correctly just to help show what you know. So I'm going to go ahead and share out the code. Go ahead and click this and log in. Good morning to those of you just getting here. And it should pop open this screen.
Scratch.
Good morning. Okay, I see lots of you are in. Awesome.
What?
Okay, more people are getting in. So again, I'm going to share out the code for those of you that just joined. I'm so glad you guys are here. And we're going to go ahead and start into science. And then at the end, like I said, we will have some free chat time for anybody that wants to stay. Okay, I'm going to start it on my side. Hopefully it's going to start.
Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye the Science Guy.
One small step for man.
Science rules.
One giant leap for mankind.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Inertia is a property of matter.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
T minus 7 seconds.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Did you know that the Earth goes around the sun and the moon goes around the Earth in a very predictable cycle? Very.
Okay, go ahead and answer this question. Which is correct? The Earth rotates around the sun rotates around the Earth. And so far, I see 68 people are in and 51 have answered it, because I can see that on the bottom screen. So if you are in the live lesson room, please make sure to click the link to get into the Ed Puzzle for participation points.
Very predictable. Not everything's like that. See, the moon is always the same. It never changes. It's the same size and shape. Round, like a ball. But it looks different to us here on Earth because of the way sunlight hits it. That's right. Moonlight is really sunlight. And it changes because the moon is going around the Earth and the Earth is going around the sun. Everything's just going around. Okay, let's say that this baseball diamond is the orbit of the moon. Now, the diamond's square and the orbit's round, but you get the idea. Now we need a sun. So let's say that the Earth is on the pitcher's mound. Now see, by the way, the scale of this globe and this moon are about right with respect to the orbit of the moon. That's the baseball diamond. Now notice that right now, when you're standing on the Earth, you can't see the moon at all. This is what we call a new moon. And the reason you can't see it is the moon is between you and the sun. Now,
okay, please answer this question. When the moon is between you and the sun, it is called a new moon, a full moon, a dark night, a crescent moon.
Oh no. Oh no.
So far, I see 67 out of 91 have answered. If you are not into the Ed puzzle, please click the link I keep sharing out in the chat pod. Again, I know some people are like, why do you keep sharing it? Whenever we get new students into the classroom, they can't see the prior chat. So I try to share it out again.
Now, the moon orbits the Earth in this direction. So when the moon gets to first base, it's a half moon because sunlight is falling on half of it. Huh? Then it keeps running to second. Now, when the moon's back here at second, it's a full moon. That's because the moon is on this side of the Earth. And here's a trick. The moon's orbit isn't flat. It's tilted. So a lot of times, when the moon's back here, we'll be way up here. But notice it's still a full moon. And this is why most of the time, the Earth's shadow doesn't fall on the moon. It's almost always full. Gotta keep...
Prodigy?
This meeting is being recorded.
Time to break for home. So with the orbit set up like this, the moon would end up right on home plate. The moon scores a home run every month. Well, that's astronomy for you. Or baseball. Well, I guess it's both. You know, sometimes you can see the moon during the daytime.
Each week the moon looks different. Sometimes it's round, sometimes it's a teeny sliver, and sometimes you can't even see it. Here's a fun thing to do. Look at the moon. Sometimes you can see it during the daytime. Draw what you see on your window. Don't worry, it's just so. You can wash it when you're done. Look at the moon in a couple of days. Draw it again. When the moon's not there, that's called a new moon. Just draw a dotted circle. After a month, the moon starts the whole thing over again. And the dark part always goes from the right to the left. The moon's in your room. Cool.
Moon glow is really sun glow. That's right. Moonlight is really sunlight that reflects off the surface of the moon, like a mirror. And you say, well, how can moonlight be so bright? I mean, where does it all come from? Well, two things. First of all, the moon doesn't have as much gravity as the Earth, so it can't hold on an ocean or an atmosphere, which absorbs moonlight. And moon rocks reflect a lot of light. And you know, moon rocks are a lot like Earth rocks. They have a lot of the same minerals. Minerals like potassium. Potassium's in bananas. Now, what?
Any similarity to an actual product, living or...
Gravity pulls on everything on Earth, including the ocean. So see this? this is the high tide mark. And way over there is the low tide mark. Now, along with the sun's gravity, the moon's gravity makes the ocean move from there to here every day because of the pull of the moon's gravity. Now, what's the main reason we have tides? Because there's a moon.
This line down here.
The moon's gravity has no effect on the ocean's tide. True or false? If you just joined, the Ed Puzzle link is in the chat for you to log in to show that you were here and get participation points and show what you know. I do try to give wait time for everybody to answer, but please try to make sure to just to click an answer, try not to think about it too much. I know that you want to try to get the right answers, and I do too, but if you don't know the answer, that helps to show me that you don't know it right away. Plus, we have to keep moving through it. I try to give wait time though.
Ew, I touched it. Oh, yeah, here, look at there. Oh, low tide uncovers a whole new world of interesting things. Check that out.
Where the stick is where the tide is now, and then a little bit later, or when we come back to check it again, it's going to be a little bit higher so we can see how fast the tide is.
It's an eel. Found it laying out in the sun. It's moving. If we didn't have a moon, we wouldn't have the tide, so we wouldn't be able to catch this stuff. Hey, y'all!
The spider crab's probably waiting until the tide comes in so we won't bug him anymore, because he's probably getting really irritated.
No moon, no tide.
High tide!
Wait, right there, pull it out, pull it out. You pull it out.
Low tide!
It's fun here. I wish Bill was here. The tide's going that way.
Okay, let's say this is the moon orbiting the Earth. Once in a while, the shadow of the moon will fall on the Earth, and we get a solar eclipse. Okay, now then, once in a while, the shadow of the Earth will fall on the moon, and we get a lunar eclipse. Let me ask you this. Why don't we get one every month, an eclipse every month? Because the orbit of the moon is tilted. So once in a while the shadow falls on the moon, but most of the time the shadow misses. And we get a full moon and a new moon every month, no problem. Isn't that wild?
Uh-huh.
It's all because the moon's orbit has a little tilt.
Why don't we get an eclipse each month? Okay, yes, we are running a little bit over our live lesson time today, so I'm sorry about that, but I really want to make sure everybody understands this because this test is this week. Several of you in the chat are telling me this, and I know several of you webmail me this, but we are having a lunar eclipse happening today and tomorrow. So if you go out and watch that, it's pretty cool. So I just wanted to share that out too. Thanks for those of you that shared it out in a webmail, or also I see people telling me in the chat. So the 17th and 18th, there's going to be a lunar eclipse of the moon. And it's the night of the supermoon. So very, very cool and awesome that it's happening right now and we're talking about this.
The Earth is round.
Okay.
And the Earth's shadow is round. Ancient Greek astronomers realized the Earth was round when they saw the Earth's shadow on the moon. Here, take a look. Now, this is what we call an eclipse of the moon, or a lunar eclipse, when the Earth casts a shadow on the moon. You know, sometimes the moon is around on this side of the Earth, and the moon casts a shadow on the Earth's surface. That's what we call an eclipse of the sun, or a solar eclipse. By the way, the shadow from a solar eclipse is a lot closer to this wide than the other one. That's because the scale of this model isn't quite right. Now, an eclipse is whenever sunlight is blocked. If the Earth casts a shadow on the moon, that's a lunar eclipse. If the moon casts a shadow on the Earth, that's a solar eclipse. It's a big sunlight blocking party, you know, sun block, Earth block, moon block, rock block!
Stand by for touchdown. Stand by. 25 feet. Down at 2. Feels good. 20 feet.
About 20 years ago, I had a great experience.
Contact. Stop, push. Engine stop. Okay, Houston, the Challenger has landed.
And that was to walk on the moon.
That's beautiful. This has got to be one of the most proud moments of my life.
There were 12 people who have actually set foot and walked on the moon. I was the 12th.
Okay, Bob, I've got my tools of the trade right here.
And my job as a geologist as well as an astronaut was to gather as many samples as we could.
Light gray material on either side. Oh, man, that's incredible.
And do other measurements that would add to our total knowledge about the moon.
And here we have a vein going through a rock, and just tap the edge of a rock like that, pick it off.
Let's see if I can't crack the corner and get that contact.
We took thousands of samples while we were on the moon, individually numbered, brought them back to Earth, and they are still being worked on by scientists here on this planet.
Jack Schmidt having a few problems.
The gravity on the moon is 1/6 of that of Earth. That is, if you weigh 60 pounds here on Earth, you'd weigh 10 pounds on the moon. If you can jump 2 feet off the ground here on Earth, you could jump 12 feet off the ground on the moon. For example, here's a boulder I couldn't even hope to lift here on Earth. But on the moon, that would be a piece of cake. You could lift that up, probably get it above your head.
Man, that is hard. Just don't stub your toe.
Running across the surface of the moon, for me, was like cross-country skiing. You take long strides and you kick with your toe to get more speed. Well, on the moon, you can do the same thing, except you glide above the surface instead of on the surface. Now, I think you can run faster than the lunar rover could drive.
We'd like you to leave immediately. Okay. My golly, this time goes fast.
The feeling of leaving the moon was, for me, a very sad one. I didn't have any concern about the rocket lighting and us getting back home, but I really would have liked to have stayed longer to learn more. And, of course, we knew it was the last mission to the moon. And the last of anything is always, I think, a sad occasion. I've been to the moon. Some of you will probably go to Mars. It is important to remember that, and that not only in geology, but in all sciences, the frontiers are infinite.
Community access 20.
Okay, answer this question. The moon has blank of the gravity of the Earth. 1/3, 1/6, half. Okay, as you're answering it, I want to answer some questions in the chat. First question is, the lunar eclipse is happening tonight. Yes, tonight. So, and that means that it is supposed to be a September harvest moon, so it's kind of orange. It's that full harvest moon. Last night, several people saw the moon and they said it looked pretty full, but it was only a waxing gibbous. Yes. But tonight is supposed to be the full harvest moon, and there is going to be a partial lunar eclipse. It's going to occur when the Earth moves between the sun and the full moon without being perfectly aligned. It's going to happen for about an hour tonight. So if you do go out and you do see it, no, you do not have to wear the solar glasses like the solar eclipse, because it is nighttime and it's only reflecting that light from the sun. The moon is. Okay, so hopefully I helped answer some questions. Hopefully you're answering this question, and I'm going to keep moving on so we can, because I know we went over our time.
27.
2, the eclipse. Intermission.